Tariffs. Are they sturdy economic shields guarding national prosperity, or are they self-inflicted wounds hindering growth? Simply stated, a tariff is a tax imposed on goods imported from foreign shores. For centuries, governments wielded them for two core purposes: generating essential state revenue, particularly vital before modern income taxes arose, and protectionism, shielding domestic industries from the pressures of global competition. Our journey examines the complex history, providing the context for you to judge their true impact. Customs duties are ancient, funding Roman legions and Greek assemblies primarily for revenue. But the rise of European powers ushered in mercantilism. From the 16th to 18th centuries, wealth, measured in gold, seemed finite. Trade became a zero-sum contest. Nations sought to export relentlessly and import sparingly, transforming tariffs into tools of protection. Consider Britain. Starting around 1721, tariffs on manufactured goods climbed, sometimes exceeding a staggering 50%. The formidable Navigation Acts, initiated in 1651, aimed to seize maritime dominance, crippling rivals like the Dutch Republic. These policies undeniably built state power and favored specific industries, yet they also ignited costly trade wars, inflated consumer prices, and restricted colonial economies, grievances that contributed fuel to the American Revolution. Global economic potential likely suffered. The late 18th century, however, brought intellectual revolution. Adam Smith championed free trade, yet the path forward remained fiercely contested. Britain's Corn Laws, enacted 1815, protected landowner profits with steep grain tariffs, inflicting hardship on the urban poor and hampering industry. Public outcry, amplified by the tragic Irish famine, beginning 1845, forced repeal in 1846. Intriguing data suggests this repeal primarily benefited Britain's bottom 90% of earners. Meanwhile, a fragmented Germany forged the Zollverein in 1834. By eliminating internal tariffs while maintaining a common external one, it created a vast domestic market. Guided by Friedrich List's infant industry theory, it fostered German industrial might and unification, though likely at the initial expense of consumers. Across the Atlantic, Alexander Hamilton advocated tariffs to nurture nascent American industries against British might. The notorious 1828 Tariff of Abominations, with rates soaring above 50% on some goods, enraged the agricultural South, triggering the nullification crisis and deepening sectional divides. Following the Civil War, US tariffs remained stubbornly high, often averaging 40 to 50%, a period coinciding with America's dramatic industrial ascent. Critically, before the federal income tax arrived in 1913, these tariffs often supplied over 90% of government revenue. But did high tariffs cause America's rise? Proponents argue they shielded infant industries. Critics contend they inflated costs, penalized agriculture, fostered inefficiency, and that resources and innovation were paramount. Economic historians like Douglas Irwin posit the link is weak, suggesting tariffs might have even slightly impeded overall growth. The 20th century brought dramatic upheaval. Amidst rising protectionism and the deepening Great Depression, the United States enacted the infamous Smoot-Hawley Tariff of 1930. Through congressional log-rolling, it swelled to cover over 20,000 goods, pushing average US tariff rates on dutiable imports from around 40% toward a crippling 60%. Despite stark warnings from over 1,000 economists, President Hoover signed the bill. Retaliation from Canada, Europe, and others was swift. Global trade didn't just decline, it collapsed, plummeting by roughly two-thirds in value between 1929 and 1934, while US exports and imports both cratered by over 60%. The historical consensus is clear. Smoot-Hawley didn't cause the depression, but it critically worsened and prolonged it, a harsh lesson in protectionism's potential costs. Haunted by this catastrophe, the post-World War II world deliberately embraced cooperation and trade liberalization. The General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, GATT, established in 1947, and its successor, the World Trade Organization, WTO, formed in 1995, became crucial forums for systematically negotiating tariff reductions based on reciprocity. This era saw average global tariffs fall dramatically. Coinciding with this, world trade volume astonishingly grew 22-fold, between 1,950 and 2,000. This liberalization is widely seen as a major engine for global growth and lower consumer prices, though not without consequence. It forced painful adjustments for some industries, such as those impacted by the China shock following China's WTO entry. Intriguingly, as traditional tariffs declined, less visible non-tariff barriers rose in prominence, presenting new complexities in international trade. Despite decades of liberalization, recent years witnessed a striking tariff resurgence. The US-China trade dispute serves as a prominent case. Citing national security, America levied tariffs on steel and aluminum, followed by broad tariffs on Chinese goods alleging unfair trade practices. Beijing's swift retaliation targeted key US exports, particularly agriculture. Studies examining these modern tariffs suggest, at best, mixed results. While proponents claim negotiating leverage, economic analyses frequently reveal substantial costs, borne almost entirely by US importers and consumers, not foreign exporters. Retaliation demonstrably harmed sectors like farming. Furthermore, potential net job losses emerged, as gains in protected sectors were often outweighed by losses in industries using those inputs, compounded by market uncertainty and disrupted supply chains. History offers curious precedents. The 1,964 US chicken tax, a 25% tariff on light trucks, inadvertently incentivized foreign auto companies to build factories inside America. History's record on tariffs is complex. They can provide revenue or brief industry shelter, but almost invariably raise consumer prices and invite damaging retaliation. Broad tariffs risk catastrophic harm, as Smoot-Hawley showed. Protecting one sector often burdens others, frequently resulting in net job losses. Critical questions remain. What specific goal is sought? Who truly gains, who bears the cost, and are there better alternatives? History warns against their widespread use, contrasting tariff disruption with post-war liberalization's growth.